Personalization tags look technical, but they're actually one of the easiest and highest ROI things you can do within your Klaviyo account. And here's the thing that most people miss. If you can literally click within a text block in Klaviyo, then you can personalize your content correctly. In the next few minutes, I'll show you exactly how to add personalization to your content. And on top of this, I'm gonna show you how to include default versions so that you never send content with awkward gaps or broken copy. This works across email, it works across SMS, it always has the same underlying logic. So once I show you this, you will never need any help again with personalization. Now, the biggest mistake I see people making is that they think personalization is something super advanced, A, or B, that personalization is just like for first name, which doesn't really do anything, and none of these two things is true. In reality, there's only 3 buckets that you use to personalize content 99% of the time. And once you figure out what those buckets are, then it stops being scary and it actually becomes super easy and must use, in my perspective. Number 1, you have your profile properties. This is basically built-in stuff, built-in data that's there by default, such as the user's email, for example. Number 2, you have what's called custom profile properties. This is anything that you decide to store. It can be quiz results, it can be somebody's birthday, it can be the skin type, frankly, the subscription status. All of the subscription platforms are adding custom properties within somebody's profile to signify whether they're subscribed or not. And lastly, you have what's called event variables. This is data that comes from certain actions that people take that Klaviyo is able, of course, to capture. For example, what someone viewed, what they added to the cart, what they ordered, and then the price of that product. And all of those things are stored on the event level. And that's it, basically, right? Like there's no magic, there's no complexity, and simply understanding that this really is all is just, in my perspective, making this feel a little less complex than it perhaps initially feels. And I think what will make it truly click for you is that personalization tags are just basically placeholders. It's text that you add within an email. When that email gets sent or that SMS gets sent, Klaviyo will replace that placeholder text with the information of the recipient. And to make it even simpler, imagine that you add a little bit of text that will say something like first name, and then when you send it to me, it's gonna say George because my name is George. And that's basically it. There's 2 things you should know. Number 1, that case sensitivity matters. The tags that you use must be correctly written, and if not, they won't really work. And the other thing is that the event variables that I mentioned, they only work within flows that get triggered by that event. So you can't do this on the campaign level. You can actually, but it's a little bit more complex and we're not gonna cover it in this. To be concrete, if a flow was not triggered by placed order, for example, then you can't pull the order data into the email, right? Like that's what I mean by that. And as long as you stick to those 2 rules, 90% of issues will kind of disappear. And with that said, now let me actually show you how this looks within Klaviyo, and I'll also show you how to add defaults so that you never really have issues with spelling and you never have empty awkward gaps within your emails. Okay, so I've opened an actual email and I want to show you how personalization works within Klaviyo step by step by step. So this is the template builder of Klaviyo, and just to show you how it looks in the real world, you can see that this text says you took the quiz, but you didn't take the next step towards your, then it says person lookup, target weight, default goal, etc. It's like looking a little bit complex, right? This is personalization. And the way this works is that if somebody has given us this target weight information, meaning they tell us I want to reach 160 pounds or whatever the goal is, this will dynamically populate. So it will be different for a person that wants to be on 160 pounds and different for a person that wants to be 200 pounds and different for a person that wants to be 120 pounds. So that's works like this. It's fairly simple. You would just go little button that says add personalization, and then you literally have everything that is stored within Klaviyo listed here. And you have, again, the profile personalization, which includes somebody's email and information that will be there by default, city, country. You will have all of this, of course, if they purchase, not necessarily from just their email. And then you have all of this extra information here. Again, you won't have all of this data within the standard Klaviyo account. This is a more advanced use case, but I just want to show you how it looks. Then you can select like see coupons, date, events, etc. But let's go with custom properties, which is, I think, fairly interesting. So let's assume I wanna based on somebody's gender as an example. Let's say I click here. What this will do is that it will dynamically pull somebody's information. So if somebody says I'm male, female, or any other option that might be available, it's going to dynamically pull this text. And there's also the option of adding default text, in which case, if Klaviyo does not have the gender information stored, it will actually use the default text. So in this case, it can be people similar to you. So of women or men, it will say this if we don't have the information. Then you would press on insert and boom, you have it already added to your account. And if you preview the email right now, if somebody's email is with this information attached to it, somebody's profile rather, not email, it will dynamically populate. And if not, it's gonna show people similar to you. And that's really it. And you can do all sorts of things. You can include people's emails, like alert for VIPs by default, or it will include their email, which is a great way to personalize when you don't have data to personalize. You always have their email, so you can always include their email. You've been identified, boom, and then you have their email. It's gonna be an extremely effective subject line for your email. So that's really how you do this. Let me show you a use case for a standard e-commerce brand using Shopify metrics as a reference. So this is what we call a checkout abandonment automation. You're probably having it set up already. And what you see here is a dynamic block. Again, this is personalization that's happening on the event level. In this case, the event is started checkout. The way this works is that it basically dynamically populates depending on what people added, what product they added to the checkout in this case. But you could have something similar for products they viewed or products they purchased, frankly. And what you can see here is that there's all of this information that is being stored within the event. You can essentially dynamically pull that you see here on the side. You can pull the price, you can pull the vendor, you can pull the product name, you can pull everything, frankly, that you see listed here. And the way to do this, again, very simple. You would just be clicking on it and then it copies the event to your clipboard. Then you would copy it in and there's this little section that allows you to add defaults, just like I showed you in the previous example. And that's really how personalization works on the event level. You can always preview the event and then you pull the data that you need and you add it within your content. Obviously, you can, if you want to personalize images, you need to like drag and drop an image and then add the personalization content within the image, and then it's what will dynamically personalize itself. Let's take a look at this so that you can make it yours. As you can see, there's the personalization code added here, and there's the link, which is also personalized, because why? It's not just that the image needs to be different, you also need to be sending people to a different checkout. So this will ensure that you send people to the correct checkout. And the same applies to every other event. Okay, you might be thinking this all makes sense, but how do I actually collect all of this data within my Klaviyo account, right? And here's the thing, the profile related data, you already have. It's there by default. The event related data, assuming that our integration with Klaviyo works, will also be there by default, meaning that when somebody starts a checkout and Klaviyo is able to track this behavior, the event itself will include that information, at least when it comes to standard integrations like Shopify, WooCommerce, Magento, etc. If you are having a custom integration, you will need to set up the event appropriately so that the info does pass on properly to Klaviyo, but that's a whole separate thing. The one thing that you won't have there by default, which I showed you in this video, is what we call custom properties. Custom properties are things that you manually add to somebody's profile. And I have a video within this channel where I show you how to do this through your pop-ups, which is the first touch point in most cases that they have with your CRM program. All of the top brands do this. Go to Grunz's website and you'll see an example of it out there in the wild. There's plenty of brands that do this. They basically all ask, what are you trying to achieve? What is your pain point? Basically motivation and pain point. That's usually what people try to do. And then using that, they are able to personalize the content. It also gamifies the pop-up so it converts better, but that's a separate topic. There is a video in this channel that shows you how to do this. But basically, if you have a mechanism to collect custom properties, they will be stored on the profile level, kind of like what you see here. You will have a key and a value. The key is basically the category name of the data, in this case, gender. And value is really what gender is that person, right? Like, so it can be color and then red, blue, black, can be goal, can be weight loss, getting huge, or whatever else that somebody would want, like sleeping better, etc. So you can literally add this like this. You simply add the property name. So you can say, think of something, favorite color. Remember, it's case sensitive, blue. And then you have property. add it to somebody's profile. You can add properties when somebody clicks to a link. You can add properties when somebody signs up for a pop-up. It's honestly very flexible. My recommendation, if any, is to do this where you will get a lot of clicks. You don't want to do this where somebody will see this once a week, basically. It's not going to move the needle. So that's how you personalize within Klaviyo. And believe it or not, by watching this short video, you've learned how to personalize the content of your email and SMS campaigns on Klaviyo. It's actually super simple. Hopefully you realize this now. And all you really need to do is figure out what data should I collect and how am I going to use it to convert more customers or otherwise get them to achieve the goals that you have. And that's basically it. The technical piece is super simple. You can do this hopefully immediately after watching this video. So it's really about the strategy. If you need help with the strategy, feel free to contact me. There's a link down below. We do this for small companies and we do this for huge companies. We've done this for over 100 companies. We're a Klaviyo Elite partner. That means we're at the top 0.00025% globally, and I'd love to help you. If you found this video helpful, also be sure to subscribe. Be sure to like the video, and my promise to you is this: every single video I'll post, you will learn at least one new thing. So be sure to subscribe because this YouTube channel will get big and it's gonna be one of the best resources there are to learn this thing called lifecycle marketing and this thing called e-commerce, and you're gonna be one of the first to discover it.